Olá, pessoal, tudo bem? Só para testar aqui o áudio, acho que já está todo mundo nos ouvindo. Okay, so I think we are already live on YouTube and also began our transmission here at Zoom with our clients. My name is Mariana Castro, and I'm here with Jonathan Avila and Leonardo Barreto to talk a little bit about everything that is going on in Latin America right now. But before that, I just would like to make a brief call on what is Vector and what is Vale and what is this partnership we are developing together to cover everything that is happening in Latin America in a regional perspective, but also having a very straight point of view on each one of the countries that have impact on all of our clients. So Vector, for those who don't know us yet, we also have an audience from Colombia and from Peru that are here with us. Was founded in 2008, and we are a government and institutional relations consultancy here in Brazil. And since 2020, we started doing this work on Latin America. And today we have more than 60 workers with us. We also offer solutions to complex regulatory issues for all of our clients through political insights and also local knowledge. We are here as well with Jonathan. And Jonathan, I would please like you to introduce Vale and the work that you are doing in Colombia and also other countries in Latin America, please.
Hi, Mariana. Hi, Leonardo. Hi, everyone. As Mariana is saying, Vale Consultants is the equivalent of Vector in the Andean region. So we have this partnership where now we are comparing what is happening in our countries. We have similar agendas, and we help multinationals in order to understand the regulatory framework and challenges that comes from the political sector and the analysis of stakeholders that are related with any of the markets that you're working on.
Perfect. And in our invitation, we said that there is an increase in the number of left governments in Latin America, with the exception of Paraguay and Uruguay. But all the other countries have shifted to the left. I think I can say that. But in this way, I would like to start with a question about Peru. And you are in Peru right now, right? You are in Lima.
Yes.
And I would like to know, what do you think we have in Peru right now? Because do we still have a left administration in Peru? What is going on? What could you bring us like a brief summary of what is going on in Peru and what we can expect now?
Well, it's a complex situation. I arrived justly to understand what is happening here from Colombia last week, and we are talking with different stakeholders in order to understand what's the panorama. Ex-President Castillo made a public intervention in order to close Congress last week, and after that, the situation evolved in order to have another president, the Vice President Dina Boluarte, that now she's the head of government. But there's a lot of trouble in relation with whom is accepting this new government or not. And this comes from external challenges. For example, the government of Colombia, Bolivia, Argentina, and Mexico are saying that they're not accepting Dina Boluarte as president. The government of Chile, UK, and US are accepting the fact that now she's the president. It's a complex situation because it's evolving. It's related with the institutional problems that are part of the political system in Peru. I think that there's a lack of equilibrium between the power of the executive power and the congressional power. So this is a situation that is evolving for years. In the last 6 years, you're having like 6 different presidents. And now we are looking for a new equilibrium of power. Probably Dina Boluarte could be president until December because she's calling for new elections of Congress and presidential elections. But who knows what is going to be the evolution that is going to have this situation in the next month. Until this moment, until yesterday, they make a resolution in order to trying to peace the situation. There's demonstrations in different parts of the country, more on the south of the country and more on the center of Lima, the capital. And now this tension could evolve in violence in some parts. So there's the need to be care about that.
Perfect. And there's another, I would change to another country. In Colombia right now, and I think this is also important for our audience. President Petro just approved the tax reform.
Yeah.
And how do you think this affects the businesses that are in Colombia right now and the relations that Colombia have with other countries, such as USA? Also in Petro's administration, which is a new one, and everyone is starting to understand how it's going to work. How do you see that?
Well, President Petro took office on August 7th. Until now, as you mentioned at the beginning, it's the first left government of Colombia. Of course, there's a line of trying to be open to solve inequality in a different way. And Colombia is a country that has a lot of problems related with poverty and development that, of course, you can say that it's more than justified to have a left government that is trying to put a new agenda related with this. So the tax reform is a little bit based on that sense, but in any case, it was mandatory in order to maintain the macroeconomic equilibrium in the country. So in general, was not bad news, but the context of this situation is related with what is happening at the economical level in all the world. So there's a lot of anxiety about how this is going to evolve the next year. But in any case, it was not as a super aggressive tax reform that is not capable to be accomplished by the private sector. In any case, a situation related with a tax reform and a new left government is making the markets a little prudent about how they're going to invest in the country on the middle and long term. In any case, Colombia is showing a lot of institutional strength. There's a good dialogue between the private sector and the government. And there's a good relation between the political sector and the government also, saying that the relation between the Congress and the executive power is not bad. So this is the first step in a series of reforms. We're talking about a healthcare reform for the next year, a labor reform, and a pensions reform that are going to be very, very important for the country. Also, it's related with a rural reform, but this is not necessarily something that is going to pass through the Congress, but it's related with applying all the accords related with the last process of peace that Colombia has with the ex-guerrilla of FARC. So that's more or less the situation. Now, in relation with the tax reform in particular, I just need to say that it comes to something that we call the reglamentación, and is the process of the discussion with the Ministry of the Treasury in order to know how they're going to apply all the rules that were approved by the Congress. And this is a very important part for the private sector, and they need to be involved in that also, and not just with the part related with the Congress. This is the first step of a process of changing taxes, because the next year also we are going to have a discussion about local taxes. That's a framework that it works for years, but now has a lot of problems, and I agree that we need to look at the way that we have the structure of local taxes in Colombia also. So for the moment, I can say that the economy of Colombia is kind of strong. The next year is going to be a little bumpy. Of course, it's not related just with the situation of observed this left government, but it's also with what is happening with the international markets in general. We are changing our relations in order to have an open economy, and in that way, I see a lot of advantage for businesses, as for example, from Brazil, that can probably conquer other markets in Latin America. The Chinese businesses also that have the opportunity to enter to Colombia, and more businesses for the European Union now that we have a strong relation with Spain. Also, we opened the market with Venezuela, sorry for that. And that means that in the normalization of our relations with Venezuela, we have an opportunity to open market there. This is problematic also because sometimes that will mean that prices are going to be artificial, and some of the things that we require as a country probably are going to look for the opportunity in Venezuela, and it's going to create some situations of scarcity that are going to be a topic for discussion in 2023 and 2024.
Mm-hmm. No, perfect, Jonathan. Thank you very much. And just to explain a little bit for our audience how our partnership has been working, because Vector and Valley, as I said before, we are covering Latin America. And what we try to do is not only to give our clients this macro perspective of what is going on, but also to track all the informations in each one of the countries that affect that client. So which are the bills that are on Congress, which are the regulations that are being built in the executive branch, what is going on in economics. So we have this all this different point of views to try to build a strategic planning for each one of the clients, working on reputation and all the institutional and challenges issues that they have. So we have here with us also Leonardo Barreto from Vector, and that works here in Brazil with us. And Leo, we call him Leo. Now, I also have one question for you. In Brazil now, we are with new administration that will begin in 2023, and Lula is back now. And we also have a tax agenda that is very important and that has been feared for some sectors. And I would like to know, how do you see this? How are you seeing this transition administration that we are having now with all the working groups and the reports that they are about to publish? But how do you see that this new administration of Lula will work? And welcome to our webinar as well.
Thank you, Mariana. Hi, Jonathan. It's a great pleasure to be here with you, with our friends. Well, we are living turbulent times here in Brazil before Lula's inauguration in 1st January. And the reason why is because Lula has announced many economic ideas that are very different from what most of people and most of analysts was expecting, right? He is adopting aggressive words against the market, against fiscal discipline, and I think he's scaring the majority of the economic agents. And this is very important because even Lula isn't in the command. His words is causing many problems. And for example, Petrobras, that is our biggest company, has lost more than 30 billions of reais of its market valuation because people, economic agents, are afraid about the policy of price of Petrobras, if Lula will abandon or not the actual policy that is to correlate the policy of price that is practicing in Brazil with the international markets, or if he will try to nationalize the price of Petrobras products. People are worried about the profile of the next president of Petrobras and many other companies that are controlled by the state. And but I think the main problem is that we are realizing that Congress that was elected with Lula in October, and the majority of Congress, we expect to be conservative and to make some kind of contraponto, some kind of barrier against some radicalism from Lula. We are realizing that this won't happen because Lula is a master of political strategies, and he is building a majority in a very rapid way. And I think the society is feeling unprotected against orthodox ideas, right? And I think this is the mood. About tax reform, Lula is talking about, in general, to make a very different administration when we compare with these two first periods here in Brazil. That is, he will distribute more resources for people, and probably he will do this or printing money or raising tax, especially from rich people, from business. And I think it will be a very hard challenge that he will have, and there is turbulence in the horizon, right? So probably we won't have easy times ahead of us, and maybe Lula could be more careful about the way he put his agenda. But why he's not doing this? I think it's a very interesting question, because he is probably the most senior politician we have in Brazil, right? He has a lot of experience about the political system, about how economic works, and so we can ask ourselves why Lula is being so naive, I don't know, so aggressive with moderate voters and with the market. Maybe one answer is Lula has no time, right? He has said that he won't try to be elected again in 2026. Maybe he feels that his health condition won't allow him to be in the front of politics for a long time. And maybe he wants to create a kind of legacy or something like that. And so we know Lula, but this president that will assume the power in 1st January is a little bit different from what we were expecting, and this is making a lot of noise. And so I have said to my people here, to my team, that maybe I think we won't be able to have some vacation in January, because we have to be alert about what is coming in 2023.
Thank you very much, Leo. And just to explain a little bit about the format that we are doing this webinar, I should have said this in the beginning, but we usually do these webinars, the first 30 minutes, we do it live on YouTube, and then we turn into a private section at Zoom with our clients. So I think that for coming to the end of this transmission on YouTube, I would like to ask Jonathan and then you, Leo, on a regional perspective, how you both see not only Lula's leadership for the next years, how this can affect all the agreements that we have, how this can turn Mercosur into a strength, bring it to a strength position that we used to have as region. How do you see that? I think maybe Jonathan can start asking and answering this to us in a perspective, in a Latin America perspective, and then I think, Leo, you could complement it from a Brazil's perspective as well.
Well, as we were discussing, there's this new left power in the whole region, but that doesn't mean that we are talking about a regional integration, and we need to see that there's blocks in this relation also. There's a lot of expectation about what is going to happen at the moment that Lula enters on the gate, because until this moment, President Petro was looking for being a leader at the international level related with what is happening on the environment and climate change. And he follows all discussions related with this on COP27 and the gathering of the UN in New York like 2 months ago. So we're talking about a Pacific bloc in a way, related with Mexico, Colombia, Chile, and Peru. But with what happened already in Peru, we need to see that probably there's going to be a strength of the relation between Mexico and Colombia on what is going to be this agenda in Latin America. And I think that is very interesting to see what is going to happen between Lula and this probable agenda in the region. And it's very interesting to discuss this, seeing what is happening in Peru, because at the moment that Castillo was put out of the office, the reaction of Colombia and Mexico was strong in union with Bolivia and Argentina, but we are not seeing Lula saying anything related with the topic. So I think that this is happening, not just in this topic, but in others. related with what is a priority for the region. What is a priority in terms of fintech? What is a priority in terms of energy? One position of Petro is very strong in terms of we need to go and overcome our dependency of oil and trying to look for new sources of renewable energy. And Lula was very strong saying we need to strengthen Petrobras. And he's talking from a very pragmatical point of view of increase the importance of the local economies in what is happening on the globe. So I think that one of the things that is going to be very important of our partnership, Vector Poly, is precisely to see this geopolitical agenda and discuss how this is going to be a window of opportunity for businesses in the region. So more or less, that's what I'm thinking. What do you think, Leonardo?
Jonathan, I think we have a common agenda that is the normalization of relationship with Venezuela. Petro and Lula will do this together. Mm-hmm. And maybe Lula could try to intermediate a solution for Venezuela with other countries as well. For example, the United States or Europe. And I think it could be a very good agenda for him. But I think the same feeling that we're having here internally about what Lula is, the guy who we elected on last October, maybe we can have the same question about what is the Lula that we elected for the Latin America continent. Because, for example, the question about the lack of message about Peru is very, very important. And the other one is during the two first periods of Lula, he used a lot of money to finance infrastructure in many countries of Latin America. It was the pillar of his foreign relations for the continent. But I think he won't be able to do this again, right? And and I think many countries are expecting some kind of aid, some kind of financial aid, like it happened in the past, and I think it won't happen in the short period. But the consultation, right, with the other leftist presidents of the continent, beginning with Lopes Obrador, Petro, Boric, Fernandez, will be the key, right, to try to understand what kind of integrated politics will happen if the continent can maybe plan some kind of actions about China, about the United States, about European Union. I don't know. I think probably the first step will be a meeting between them, right, to try to design some kind of common politics of the continent. I don't know if we have a briefing about how can this happen, but I think it would be probably the first step. Lula we try to lead, but maybe you try to create a common politics with many presidents that are from the left, right? How Latin America can deal with the world if they can do this together or not. I think it will be the most important question in the next year.
I have a question for you, Leonardo.
Of course.
Do you think that with all the process after Bolsonaro, Lula has the capability to see out of Brazil, or he's going to be focused as Biden is focused on what is happening in the United States? Because probably that's one of the reasons that the agenda probably is not going to be led by Brazil like before.
It's a very smart question. And I think, Jonathan, Lula's will is to play the international game. I think he likes, he sees himself as a global leader, right? And I think he would like to deal with other global leaders and maybe intermediate some kind of common politics with Latin America and the rest of the world. But our domestic challenges are very tough. And I think he can't leave the domestic challenges to, for example, Fernando Haddad. I think Lula, I think he hasn't a chief of government that can lead the internal discussions, to create and administrate an internal political coalition that can allow him to be the chief of the state and concentrate in international relations. So I think Lula would love to concentrate in international relations, but the domestic scenario won't allow him to do this.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Jonathan. We are coming to the end of our YouTube broadcast, and we would like to thank all of those who followed us here and the ones who watch us later as well. Our contacts will follow in the description of the video, and that will be public soon. So thank you all.